Hey my friends, welcome back to All Cars. And several weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago I guess, I don't know, I did a video about Canoo, the EV startup. And basically in the video I was saying how much I liked them. I was kind of halfway keeping an eye on their styling, but I'd read in some financial news about the struggles they were going through. Yeah, the founders left, the company merged with somebody else, went through an IPO, there was a class action lawsuit, and the SEC was investigating them. And I, of course, got comments from the very friendly people of the interwebs that I was an idiot, I was repeating rumors, and that I should do my research first. So thank you for that, I really appreciate it. But I did have one comment telling me that there was going to be an investor relations day on the 16th, and they'd like my feedback afterwards. And well, for those of you who think that I give my opinion too much, stay tuned because I'm going to give you a whole video of opinions about Canoo. Alright, so I'm going to try to keep this pretty short, and I will say that the investor relations, I have not watched every single second of the video. You can go to, I'll provide a link to it below, you can go to Canoo's YouTube channel and watch this for yourself. It's over 3.5 hours long. Other than my ADHD, I just can't sit here and watch the whole darn thing. But I've watched most of it, okay? And I kind of skipped some of the question and answer at the end especially. And I guess my overwhelming opinion is I'm really impressed. That scares me because any startup is ripe with the opportunity to fall apart and all investors lose their money. But you always have those ones like Tesla that go on and carve out a niche for themselves. And I've got to say, after watching these people speak and watching what they're trying to do, I lean towards these. I think these guys have got a shot. I really, really do. Some of what they're doing, they're playing up, but other people are doing it too. They've got one part of their business plan that I just don't totally buy. Maybe I just need more information on it. But I would say after watching this, watching the new CEO, watching the financial people and I don't know what their titles were, the customer-centric person come through and talk, I'm really, really impressed. And part of this is they announced the location for their, what they call it, mega mini factory, something like that, which allows them to build at scale but also customize through the process. It's really impressive, guys. It really, really is. So a few takeaways from it that I really want to play up. And stay tuned because at the end I'm going to tell you the one phrase this CEO said that really is carrying a lot of weight for me. Now the first thing is I want to address those who thought I was just spreading rumors in the first one. I'm sorry. Class action lawsuits, an SEC investigation, and IPO, a merger, and people leaving the company, including the head of powertrain development, those aren't rumors. Those are facts. Just because you don't like them doesn't mean they're not true. And if you're investing in a startup that doesn't even have a factory to build their product yet, it's something to be aware of. Is this going to be a flash in the pan? Or is it going to become the next Tesla? Are they going to be able to compete with Rivian and the other, like Alpha, other EV startups out there, especially when you've got Ford elbowing in and muscling into the space with the F-150 Lightning, which I believe last I heard they did have pre-orders for 100,000 of them. That being said, it looks like Canoo has got a steady hand at the tiller. And this is not a financial channel, right? But if I were to invest in Go EV, I like what I hear. So one thing they said that really jumped out at me was building a factory is expensive. And they've picked a place. The governor of Oklahoma was there to talk about it. They've got their plan, but they have committed to a fourth quarter 2022 delivery schedule, beginning deliveries of their lifestyle vehicle, the little micro van. And to meet that, they know they can't finish their factory in time. So they've actually partnered with this company, VDL Nedcar, out in the Netherlands, to start building it. All right? Now, I'd never heard of these before, so I had to go check them out. This is amazing. I had no idea this existed in this space, but they started in 1968. They began building cars. It became a closer and closer collaboration with Mitsubishi through the 90s until ultimately Mitsubishi owned them. They worked with Daimler. They ended up building not only the Colt, but they ended up building the Mini Hatch. They built the Mini Convertible. They built the Mini Countryman. And since 2017, they've built the BMW X1. So this is not some rinky-dink bicycle manufacturer that they went and found that's going to start building cars for them. This company specializes in building cars for other manufacturers to the point they can actually build different brand cars on the same assembly line at the same time. And what the CEO was saying is that they're going to be able to start production there, immediately start selling in America while their factory's being built. Then once their factory is built and up and running, everybody's trained, that will serve America, and this other Nedcar will be able to serve the European market. So just like that, one after the other, they have a plan to serve two different markets at the same time. That's smart thinking. I like that. That really impresses me. Part of it is I had no idea VDL Nedcar even existed, but hey, it was really, really interesting to go research. So that's number one, is they have a plan. Number two is they keep playing up their platform, that they've got this deck with the wheels and everything's all at once, and then they can put what they call a top hat on top of it. And they've got three planned, which are all customizable. They've got the lifestyle vehicle, a delivery van, and then their super cool truck, which I love. You know what? A lot of people are doing something like that. I mean, you've got Rivian out there. You've got, of course, Kia. They've been advertising, well, Hyundai Kia. They've been advertising their EV platform that they can put different bodies on. Everybody's doing something like that. So Canoo plays it up, but I'm not sure it's revolutionary compared to what everybody else is doing, except their approach to it seems refreshing. Now, one thing they talked a lot about in the earlier part of this investor relations was analyzing the car market and where other manufacturers are losing profit. Said that, for example, the current manufacturers, let's say Detroit, but it would apply to Toyota and Honda as well. Their market, their business plan is to move steel, right? I sell you a car, you buy it, I make money, hey, we're done. Canoo is trying to look at this as more of a relationship. And they do talk about they're not going to have traditional dealers. They're going to partner with dealerships, but the business model is going to be different. You're not going to go there and shop around with a car salesman being like, what do I have to do to get you into this Canoo today, right? It's going to be 80% online, and their partners, what they call them, are going to have a different business model to work with you. But the other part that really surprises me, I don't buy into it entirely, is this concept that once, say, a traditional car manufacturer sells you a vehicle, they're done. Now, when you're done with that vehicle, you can trade it in and buy a new one. And now the dealer is making any profit on that vehicle after that. So point number one they made is that their vehicles are going to have a much longer lifespan, much fewer moving parts, much longer life potential. And so when it doesn't work for you anymore and you go to move on to the next one, they want to be involved at every step of that process for the second, third, and fourth owners. And I believe with the option of maybe customizing it in between. They talk about this, and in this slide I show you right here, they identified $24 billion of upfitting and accessorizing for monetizing the full vehicle lifetime through multiple owners. I don't know that I buy that entirely. That one is kind of exciting and completely different than what we see in a traditional model right now. But how is that going to work? If I've got a Canoo right there, is it going to be like Carvana, where I'd be like, Canoo, I want to trade mine in? How's that going to work exactly? I don't know. That's really exciting, but that throws up a huge question mark to me. If they're relying on that, I want a lot more information about what that's actually going to look like. And then they did talk towards the end a lot about they're reducing the number of chips, they're simplifying the code, they're making it much more secure from a data standpoint of the cars not being able to be easily hackable and things like this. So I don't want to go on and on. It was a 3.5 hour long video, and I don't want to talk for 30 minutes on it, other than to say the first video I did was, I love the concept, I love the styling and the cool little thought they're putting into it. But I had questions about the IPO and the lawsuits and leadership leaving, but I feel so much better about it now. Now that makes me nervous because we've all seen companies that had leadership saying everything is fantastic and then it collapses on itself. You know, Theranos and Enron and WorldCom and everything else. And startups are so hard to get up and running, but they did have their financial people on to say they are well capitalized through launching that first vehicle and building the factory. I'm feeling a little bit better about them. But the thing that really stuck out to me, and maybe it was rehearsed so much it sounded like an offhand comment, but the CEO was speaking relatively early, just looked over his shoulder and said, and we will never make a projection that we know we can't hit.
But why is the value shifting? Because it's supposed to. And we wanted to make sure we weren't overvalued because, you know, having ran a public company for over a decade, we never missed revenue for 34 quarters. Henceforth, why we brought down volumes. We will always give guidance that is less than we can do or we have projected to do. We do not want to be the ones missing.
And that really carries a lot of weight to me. I would like to think that I'm a relatively good judge of character. I knew nothing about this man until today when I went and read more about him and his history of leading profitable companies. And that comment really resonated with me because I like that attitude. I like that conservative attitude that, like, look, if we think we're going to be able to sell 10,000 in a quarter, we're going to tell you 9. I like that a lot. And I think, if I remember correctly, I'll look and see if I can see it in the video. I think they've had 9,000 reservations on their vehicles. Well, you don't have to do a lot of math to say, you know, if that's going to be 10,000 and each of these vehicles are $35,000 each, that's $350 million. So that would be a good start. So for you who wanted my opinion, I would say my excitement has returned. I mean, they've got a lot of challenges ahead of them in getting up and getting running and quality issues and distribution and everything else that they have to do in the next year and a quarter. But right now, they've returned as one of my favorite of the EV startups that I'm really, really rooting for because they're just super cool. And everything I heard in that video was, here's a group of people and a company that's really interested in doing things different, breaking it down, building it back up, and creating something new and fresh out there, not carrying on 100 years of legacy decisions and suppliers. It's really, really exciting. Am I going to take any of my money and put it into Go EV? I don't know. Am I going to take, put one of these under reserve and, plan on a $35,000 payment later on? I don't think I am. But I got to say right now, I'm over here as a cheerleader for him, and I'm going to keep an eye on him. If I hear anything exciting, I'll let you know. So, guys, I appreciate you spending a few minutes with me. Have a great evening.